We need to talk about what is happening in the United States of America. There is a real problem right now, the extent of which is almost too horrible to comprehend. A systemic dehumanization, cruelty, and violence has become so brazen and public we cannot ignore it. And I am not just talking about divisive rhetoric and talking heads. What we are seeing now has been sadly present since before the founding of this nation. There are some who have chosen to ignore what is happening, to pretend that it doesn't exist, or that it isn't as bad as it seems, or that nothing can be done about it. And it seems like every day there's a new horror, a new outrage. We have reached a point in this country where politicians are having to issue public statements that they are not suicidal. We have had political assassinations, both overt and covert, citizens and immigrants murdered in our streets, people being targeted for their country of origin or the color of their skin, detained in dehumanizing conditions, tortured, starved, denied medical care, and many of the most powerful and influential people in this country, including the current president, have been exposed as having direct, close connection to a man who has victimized thousands of children. Social media bot armies distribute endless campaigns of harassment and misinformation. News networks and social media platforms are suppressing, canceling, or deplatforming criticism of the current administration and their draconian tactics. Meanwhile, prices are up and people everywhere are struggling. Now, everything I have said is true, and I have just given a great deal of weight and energy to naming this problem. And if I stop there, I believe I am only contributing to that problem. The real question is, what are we going to do about it? I believe every human being, regardless of race, sexuality, gender identity, religious affiliation, or background, every single person is deserving of basic dignity and respect. I believe that every single person is capable of greatness, that with a determined spirit, they can achieve amazing things. I think most of us, myself included, hold ourselves back. And I must confess that sometimes I am afraid of being seen, afraid of putting myself out there for fear of being rejected or perhaps even killed. I know enough history to know that there is nothing new under the sun. Human beings, while capable of such greatness, are also capable of great terror. Within even the most conscientious and empathetic among us, and in spite of our best efforts, there will sometimes be hurt and misunderstanding. And there will be grace, forgiveness, and redemption, and there will be justice and righteousness, and truth will always find its way to the light. We can and must transcend this present moment. I believe we can remember our shared humanity, the call to love and care for one another, to bear each other's burdens, to lift up and support each other, to remember that every man is my brother, every woman my sister, every non-binary person my sibling, and that we are all one family, and that we are created as diverse and beautiful and messy and complicated and all in need of grace. All are in need of love. No one is beyond redemption. There are those today who hate others for having the audacity to self-identify and self-express, and I believe that every single person is the highest authority in their own life, and no one has the right to hinder the self-agency of another. No one has the right to denigrate or dehumanize another, and no one has the right to abuse or violate another. My mission as a coach and minister is rooted in these beliefs. In the field of personal self-development, we are supposed to be nonpartisan. And yet, I have recently heard morally weak and indefensible takes from a leading name in the field, and I feel a need to speak to it. To trivialize the suffering and oppression of others, to defend and praise those who are behind the cruelty, is not a position of a person who recognizes the humanity of their fellow human being. You cannot turn a blind eye to evil without becoming an accomplice to it. Jim Rohn used to say that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you spend enough time with racist, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, transphobic, greedy, self-centered, megalomaniacal monsters, people will begin to talk. And if you use your vast public platform to say things like, regardless of what you think of his politics, you have to admire his energy. No, no, I do not have to admire someone who spends the golden years of his life pouring all of his energy into demonizing people I love and destroying everything that makes this country great. You may know who I am talking about, but I will not name him here. And meanwhile, I still have bills to pay. Up until now, things have not moved forward as quickly as I would like. I have spent the last couple of weeks reflecting on this calling. I stopped promoting myself. I distanced myself from social media to block out the noise and to figure out if I was going to keep trying to get this business going or if I was going to shudder it, admit defeat, and look for another job. And I kept coming back to the same conclusion. I can't do that. This is one of those irrational things that I need to do. I can't keep giving up and altering my course before I get to where I intend to be. And yet, I still have bills to pay. And I am still concerned about the future of this country and this world. And I pray. And while I pray, I try to visualize a world that works for everybody. A world where we've overcome all of this hatred and all of this needless suffering. And in spite of evidence to the contrary, I still believe that we are capable of better than this. Faith is, after all, the assurance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. I believe that we are all capable of greatness, and I believe that for every former student, every friend, every potential client, every human being, for all of us as a society, I believe that if we really took the time to get to know each other, to talk, and to listen to each other, and to realize just how much we truly have in common just by virtue of being human, the world around us will begin to evolve. I believe that there is a spiritual awakening happening right now, and that it will lead us beyond the comfort of our bubbles, our safe spaces, and even our prejudices into a wider world. It will require all of us to remember the humanity of every single person we encounter. I believe, as many a wise person has said in various ways throughout history, we become what we think about. And I believe that when we dream, we remember those things we want to experience and accomplish in the short time we have on this planet. We bring our focus, our energy, and our belief to those things that when we start doing that, we start moving towards becoming who we're meant to be. We become fuller and more authentic expressions of our true selves. Now is not the time for timidity. We all need to make our voices heard now. And we all need to shine our light now. We all need to dare to dream bold dreams and dare to believe, because such dreams are the stuff of life. And so I can't give up on this idea, this call to ministry, this call to service. This is my bold dream. None of us should have to settle for less than that which our hearts long for. And no one should have to live in fear or shrink themselves for another. I am inviting you to remember your humanity and our shared humanity. When you live fully into that which is truly, authentically, and unapologetically you, and when you live not just for yourself and your own fulfillment, but in love, helping each other without prejudice, everything else will find a way to sort itself out, and we will begin to move forward as individuals and as a society to make peace with all things and through all circumstances. Today is Ash Wednesday. Today, as we enter Lent, I renew my resolve to work for peace, to work for mutual understanding, to work for the individual and collective prospering of myself and all people, because I do not believe prosperity is a dirty word. Now, let me be clear. I do not believe that many of the multi-billionaires of this world have provided a sound example of a prosperous life. Many are sick. Many struggle with addiction and depression and are caught up in building empires of hatred, greed, control, and oppression, regardless of political allegiances. Scarcity thinking has not served any of us. There is enough good for everyone when we learn to work in cooperation with everyone. We need to stop hoarding and grasping and seeing the success of another as robbing ourselves. And as we enter Lent, I invite you on a journey of prayer and reflection. Over the next 45 days, I will be offering regular reflections. I will be talking about the Bible and other sacred texts. I'll be talking about Christianity, deconstruction, liberation theology, and new thought. My next video in a few days will be on exegesis, eisegesis, and why the Amplified Bible is both one of my favorite and one of my least favorite translations. Now, I will also be making time for live streams, for quiet, prayerful reflections, and for conversations on how we can create positive change in our little corners of the world. Because we need each other, now more than ever. If you want to have a conversation with me, or if you want someone to pray with you, or if you just want someone to listen to you, there is a link to schedule a one-on-one meeting with me. I also have time for free strategy sessions if you want to explore whether coaching is right for you. But if you're just looking for a compassionate ear, I won't try to sell you on my services. If you want to support me in my work here, there are multiple links in the description where you can do so. And know that whatever is going on in your life, I am rooting for you. Humanity will survive these dark days. In the meantime, let's do what we can to offer some light to each other. Peace and blessings.